Oh Cisco, oh Poncho, it's the Medicare for the Lazy Man podcast. The Medicare podcast that actually left it to Beaver. He knows that fossil fuels have nothing to do with fossils. Medicare expert Doug Jones.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the next episode of the Lazy Man, the Medicare for the Lazy Man podcast. I almost forgot what my own podcast is called, and the reason for that has been quite a while since we have done any recording, but I am here to resume our recording schedule, and I'm here to help you, the audience, feel really happy about the fact that Medicare is going to be the finest health insurance coverage that you could ever have in the United States of America. Actually, there probably are some other private plans that are as good as Medicare. You're unlikely to find anything better than Medicare, and that will happen to you if you follow my recommendations. If you're lured away from the path of righteousness by these television ads with the washed-up celebrities, you're likely to wander into an area that will not be pleasant for you. But if you follow my recommendations, you're going to have the finest health insurance coverage available in the U.S. of A. Now, how can I get these recommendations to you in their exquisite detail? Well, I would suggest that you go to Amazon.com and purchase at least one of my books. The one I would suggest that you start with is Medicare for the Lazy Man 2026. When you type that into the search window, you're going to come up with 4 possibilities for purchasing that book. The paperback is what most people wind up purchasing, but you can also get it on a Kindle if you happen to have an e-reader that Amazon supports. You can listen to it. You can purchase the Audible version of the book, and you can certainly get the magnificent hardcover version if you intend to keep that book forever and to refer to it frequently in the future, perhaps hand it down to your progeny. Then that would be the way to go. That's a $25 item, but if you amortize that cost over, like, let's say 100 years, it's going to be a very reasonable cost. In any event, Medicare for the Lazy Man 2026 will give you a lighthearted but very factually accurate and factually intense introduction to Medicare, and it will guide you to the path that will provide you with the finest health insurance coverage available in the United States once you have enrolled in Medicare. Following the steps that are laid out for you at the very beginning of the book, you don't even have to read the whole book to learn how best to take advantage of the Medicare system. And that would just be in the first few pages that I lay that course of action out for you. So I believe that that would be the book I would most recommend that you purchase. Now, let's suppose that you want to know how to enroll in Medicare, and you don't really need Medicare for the Lazy Man 2026. Well, then you can purchase Medicare Enrollment Guide. It is very similar looking, but it's a lot thinner because it is a guide to the steps that you must take to enroll in Medicare. And here's the cool thing. You don't have to get it from Amazon and pay $5 for a paperback or $3 for a Kindle version. If you want to, go to my website, MedicareForTheLazyMan.com, and download it from there. Click on the link that you'll find, and it will appear in your phone, or it will appear on your desktop or whatever device you're using, and you may print it and keep it and use it in good health. My intention when I wrote this book was to make it available to everybody who has a need for the procedural steps that will enroll them in Medicare. And that's what this is for. It's a tool for helping you learn what needs to be done to get enrolled, to get signed up for the various parts of Medicare. Now, if you have a drug plan, and most people should have a drug plan if they have a Medicare supplement plan, they need a freestanding drug plan. And if they don't take any drugs, they still need that plan to avoid a future lifetime late enrollment penalty. However, they can find one that will be cheap or virtually free of charge. Most people will have some drugs that they take, prescription drugs, and there's a procedure to follow. The government website, medicare.gov/plan-compare, will help you select the cheapest drug plan available in your area in view of your location, your drug list, and your preferred pharmacies. But to put all those things into the mixing bowl and mix them all up and come out with the best plan requires some computing capacity. And for that, you can use the government website, and it will tell you which of the plans is available in your area that's going to be the least costly for you. My book, Medicare Drug Plans, A Simple DIY Guide, is also on sale at Amazon, and it will tell you how to use the government website to find out which of the available drug plans would be your best bet. Now, why would you want to buy that book when you're going to buy a drug plan and that's it? Well, that's not it, because every fall, the drug plans, which are under intense financial pressure, will change many of their important characteristics. And I suggest doing the procedure again after October 15th, so that if you find that your drug plan is going to change in an unpleasant way, you will get the jump on it. You'll be able to enroll in a different drug plan to start January 1st of next year. And that way, this book will have done double duty. And in fact, you could put it on the shelf and pull it down the following October to ensure that you will still have the best drug plan available in the following year. It's an annual kind of thing. It's difficult to find professionals that are going to help you select a drug plan free of charge, because when they used to do that, it was because the drug plans paid an insurance agent commission, and that has pretty much gone out the window. So it's going to be tough to find an insurance agent that's willing to spend the time picking out a drug plan for you. And especially when there may be one plan left that pays a commission, everybody that agent talks to is going to wind up in that one plan, whether it's appropriate for them or not. So I suggest learning how to do it on the government website, and my book will help walk you through that process and explain what a lot of the fine print that you'll find on the website really means. And speaking of explaining things, I've got a guy here named Randy Carson who explains a lot of things to me. He and I have been talking AI lately. It's like we each have new pets living in our house, and they do tricks, and we've given them names. And I don't know, mine likes to drink beer. I don't know about Randy's, but
well, mine does too. Yeah, this is like a Tamagotchi. Remember those?
No, what's that?
It was a little very, very early on AI pet. It looked like a little munchkin or a chipmunk
Okay.
or something. And I don't even remember what it looked like, but it was called a Tamagotchi.
Sounds vaguely Japanese to me.
And yes, it wasn't from Nebraska, but so you'd start it off, you'd take it out of the package and say, "Hey, I'm here," and then it would start asking for stuff, feed me, and you'd have to answer its questions and all.
Oh boy!
And eventually, if you kept feeding it, everything was good and it kept living. And eventually, and I never had one because I wouldn't pay money for such a thing. But
right.
Anyway, if you didn't feed it often enough, or that, it would die. And then your dead
that does sound familiar.
If you had a dead Tamagotchi, the universe was just going to put you where the sun don't shine.
You couldn't take it back to the Tamagotchi store and get a replacement?
No, it was meant to die.
Oh, geez. Well,
because you were a bad parent.
That sounds very annoying, Randy. I'm glad I never ran across that. Maybe, I don't know when that was popular or if it was ever really popular.
Oh man, when it was so long ago. I mean, it was like, I think it was like when I was in like junior high or high school. I don't know. Back when we were still using clay tablets.
Sure, I remember that with a little chisel and a hammer.
Yeah.
A cuneiform. That was cuneiform writing on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, listen, you have tortured me in the past frequently with the location and name of the best steakhouse in various steaks, and I've given up even trying to guess. I can't imagine what it's going to come up with. So all I can do is wait to hear your next location where you've discovered the best steakhouse.
Well, I'm going to take it easy on you today, Doug, because
Okay.
I decided that because last weekend was a holiday weekend that I should be nice, and
Geez,
and
how
I've
long is that going to
decided,
last?
and I've just well, you just never know, because I've been talking to my AI friend, and he said, well,
Yeah.
you can't wait too long.
I know they're a little insidious, aren't they?
Oh, yeah, and as you were saying before we started recording, they butter you up real well too. Oh, that's the most amazing thing I've ever seen.
I've never had my posterior kissed in such creative ways before.
All I can say is that it's a good thing there's no subtitles like, "Oh, that's just the most amazing thing I've ever seen." You idiot.
Yes. What are you really thinking?
So
Well,
anyway, I'm really having a lot of fun with all my AI stuff. So
yeah, me
someday.
too. But I'm sure you're miles ahead of me in making them do tricks and stuff like that. So I've got some catching up to do. But my next door neighbor is an AI freak. He's either got a lot of free time or he's highly intelligent and grasps the things more quickly than I. But I'm trying to learn as life goes on.
Well, I'm gonna tell you one short joke about AI. Way, way, way back in the day when I was I was back at the bank. It was like when I was into my 20s, and one of the software tools we bought came with a little software program that claimed to be AI.
Okay.
So we were all huddled around this thing like, oh man, this is gonna be cool. So anyway, we loaded it onto a PC, and it would ask questions, and it was a game, but
Yeah.
and it would you ask questions and it would give you answers, and it was you were trying to guess what animal it was. It was thinking of an animal, and you were supposed to ask questions and then eventually tell it what you thought it was.
Okay.
So we we ask questions, this, that, no, this, blah, blah, blah. And bottom line is, no matter what you did, no matter what you asked it, no matter what animal it was, it came back and says, you're wrong. It's a goat.
Oh, jeez. Well, I guess that's what the programmer found easiest to finish up and put on the market. My
Well, here's
God.
here's your fun fact about mountain goats.
Okay.
They're not actually goats.
Really?
They're antelope.
You're kidding. Even though they
Nope.
have goat-like horns and what I'm thinking of is mountain sheep.
Yeah.
When you see a mountain, and they're in Arizona up north, they live on cliffs and they stand on little
Yeah.
shelves but they're sheep, the ones I'm thinking of,
Yeah. Yeah.
or they look like sheep anyway.
So that's my fun fact for the day.
Well, I'm thoroughly confused now between the antelope. The antelope are the goats are not antelope. No, goats are not goats. They're antelopes. And geez, and the dying. Yeah, you've given me a lot of food for thought today, Randy.
I don't want to confuse the audience, so I'm just going to say, we're 1 degree away from it being hot. So it's 99 degrees up here in Cave Creek.
Yeah, it was pretty hot yesterday. It was 109, as I recall, headed for 110, which would have set a new record, I think.
Nice spring day.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it could be worse. Let's go back up north in the wintertime and then see how you like it.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm going to go ahead and let you do your thing, and
Well, I thought we were going to talk about steakhouses. Do you have a
oh,
steakhouse?
I don't have a steakhouse picked out. I'll
All
I'll
right.
get you I'll get you on the next episode.
All right. No problem. No problem. Let me start out by saying I've got a client in Georgia who's an attorney. Name is Robert, and he is a fount of wonderful information. He has kept an eye on the Medicare Advantage situation and has sent me some very informative articles that are warning signs for the future of Medicare Advantage plans. So I've got an article here that's about 6 or 8 pages long. I'm not going to read it all. I'm going to hit the high points, and I'm going to say thank you to my client Robert. The headline of this article is Medicare Advantage plans are quietly dropping popular senior benefits in 2026. And this came from a publication called savingadvice.com. It's like a newsletter that apparently Robert subscribes to, and I think I'll probably check it out more frequently. But this thing says, for years, Medicare Advantage plans aggressively advertised extra perks like dental coverage, grocery cards, free rides to appointments, gym memberships, over-the-counter allowances, and other things like that to attract retirees. In 2026, however, many seniors are discovering that those benefits are shrinking, becoming harder to qualify for, or disappearing altogether. While insurers continue promoting low premiums and supplemental perks in television commercials, the fine print inside annual notice of change letters, those are the letters these plans send to all of their members in probably September. The fine print inside those letters tells a different story for some retirees. That's the second time they've used the term retirees. Industry analysts say that rising medical costs and tighter federal payment rules are pushing insurers to scale back optional benefits that once helped Medicare Advantage plans stand out. That's why you need to be sure you pick the plan you really need. Now, this article is addressed to people who are thinking about picking Medicare Advantage plans, who are already on Medicare Advantage plans. It's not necessarily addressed to my clients, who I always steer away from Medicare Advantage, but it's a warning. It's a warning for anybody considering Medicare Advantage. So inside the article, there's a section entitled Dental Benefits Are Becoming More Limited. Grocery and over-the-counter benefits are shrinking in some plans. Transportation benefits are becoming harder to use. Gym memberships and fitness perks are less generous. Meal delivery benefits are also being reevaluated. Vision coverage still exists. And then it goes on to say most Medicare Advantage plans continue offering vision benefits, but the specifics are changing in ways that many seniors overlook. Some plans are lowering eyewear allowances, narrowing retail networks, or limiting coverage for upgraded lenses and coatings. Others now require retirees to use specific optical chains or mail order providers for maximum savings. So when you read vision included in a Medicare Advantage plan, it's not as comprehensive as it used to be. You may be surprised by the new co-pays and restrictions. So rising costs are driving many of these changes. The growing pullback in supplemental benefits is not happening randomly. Industry analysts say insurers are facing rising healthcare utilization costs, tighter reimbursement pressures, and increased federal oversight around Medicare Advantage spending. Several major insurers have already signaled plans to reduce optional benefits to maintain profitability in future years. Some companies are also exiting unprofitable markets entirely, leaving seniors scrambling to compare replacement coverage during open enrollment. The era of aggressively expanding free extras may be slowing as insurers shift the focus back to core medical coverage. Annual notice of change letters now matter more than ever. One of the biggest mistakes retirees make is assuming their Medicare Advantage plan will remain mostly the same year after year. In reality, insurers can modify supplemental benefits annually, which is why the annual notice of change document is so important. Medicare experts strongly encourage seniors to review every page of these notices carefully, and I'll tell you, it's like pulling teeth or going through surgery. Those things are often written like legalese in a fine print that is difficult to decipher. Make sure you get a big magnifying glass ready to go when you sit down to read your annual notice of change, your ANOC letter. A plan that worked perfectly in 2025 may offer very different dental, transportation, grocery, or over-the-counter benefits. So this is fair warning that Medicare Advantage plans are not like Medicare supplement plans. There is no legal requirement for continuity, and all of the stuff that they promise might be shrinking. And in fact, you might find that the plan that you've chosen needs to be escaped from for the following year. I always suggest considering going back to original Medicare plus a Medicare supplement, because if you need medical treatment for very serious complications or diseases or injury or whatever, you're going to find that that provides you the most cost-effective coverage. And Medicare supplement is not as costly as one might think. Now, I've got a series of notices from one of my favorite insurance companies, Mutual of Omaha. Many of my clients, in other words, let's see, I think there are 8 of them here, are getting rate increases. Generally speaking, these rate increases are age adjustments plus increases for medical inflation, the cost of doing business. When the cost of doing business goes up for an insurance company, they have to raise the rates they charge their insured people in order to continue to make a profit. Otherwise, they're not going to be able to pay our medical bills. And so with Mutual of Omaha, I got this lengthy list of clients who are all getting rate increases. So what I did, instead of going through all the numbers individually, which is kind of boring, I wanted to synopsize what they've offered here. And I will tell you that the average rate increase for a high deductible plan G is just over $6 a month. The average rate increase for a plan G, a regular plan G, is in the neighborhood of $42.50 a month. So if you've got a plan G and you're one of the people on this list, the average increase that you're going to see when you open your mail from Mutual of Omaha is $42. And if you multiply that by 12, that's a $509 increase for the coming year. And that's assuming they go for a full year without increasing Plan G rates again. If you've got high deductible Plan G, the plan that I always urge my clients to consider seriously, and the plan that I sell the most of, I might be the guy who sells the most high deductible Plan G in the whole United States. I had a guy I've gotten to know on the internet. He's a fan of my books. He called me the other day. He said, "I'm so excited. I sold my first high deductible Plan G. I'm so excited. What can I expect?" I said, "Well, you can expect to not make much money, but you can expect a happy client that will not insist that you find him a cheaper product every time he gets a rate increase." So once again, for the Mutual of Omaha people that are getting notifications right now, average monthly increase is only $6.17, or a grand total for the year of $74, as opposed to $42 a month and $509 for the whole year for those who have Plan G. And what I typically do is I go to my clients that have Plan G and they're getting the big rate increases, and I ask them if they would like to consider changing to high deductible Plan G. And if they live in a state with a birthday rule, then we can arrange for that to happen at the appropriate time. If they're healthy, I just ask them to fill out a health questionnaire and let me know whether or not they have any medical problems, and that we can get it done that way. If they live in a state without a birthday rule and they do have serious medical problems, then they might not be able to take advantage of the switch to high deductible Plan G. And the worst case scenario there is that they at least still have a Medicare supplement plan. It's going to be expensive, but it's comprehensive coverage and it's good protection. So things could be worse. Steve Gibbons is our friend down in Texas. I've rarely said his last name. I don't know why it came out of my mouth now, but he sent me something back in a month ago, I think it was. And he said, "This is going to be a mess." And the link that he sent in this email that he said, that he gave me is MS Now. He has a propensity to gather his news from all kinds of sources. And the link goes on. It's a very lengthy one and says something about the pilot program. So I'm thinking about the Medicare pilot program where they're going to start having prior authorization requirements for, I think it's 6 states, and it's a certain number of procedures, most of which are kind of esoteric procedures that they're going to throw into this pilot program. I don't like it because I say it's like letting the camel get his nose under the edge of the tent. Once you get that nose in there, you can't get the camel out of your tent. He's going to come in whether you want him to or not. So I don't like taking that first step. But the government's calling it a pilot program, and we'll see whether or not the results of that program encourage them to widen the program. But it's taking place in 6 states. And so anyway, Steve sent a synopsis along, and he said, I wonder if a person went to a doctor in another state, if they could get around the rules of this pilot program, or would they use the person's home address? If these companies are paid for rejecting claims, well, that says it all. So let me see what the article says that Steve sent. Earlier this year, Joanne, the headline is RFK Jr.'s AI pilot. Oh, it's ironic. We were just talking about artificial intelligence. RFK Jr.'s AI pilot program is a Trojan horse for privatizing Medicare. Now, right there, I'm not sure I have a problem with that, because Medicare should probably be private. And there are people who say, oh, it wouldn't be as good if it were private. Things were better back in the olden days when there was more privatization in the health insurance business. Everybody had more choices. What you needed was an agent to help explain the choices and help keep you away from the dangerous choices and help you avail yourself of the good choices. But anyway, that's a conversation for another day. I'm not averse to privatization of Medicare, but this article is stating, watch out for privatization. The subheadline is, the program underway in 6 states simply repeats the same flawed tactics that already delay care, frustrate patients, and cost us more money. Well, I don't like anything that delays care and frustrates patients. So here's the body of the article. Earlier this year, Joanne, a Medicare patient from Washington state, went to her doctor for severe pain in her lower back, down her leg, and on top of her foot. An MRI showed that a herniated disc was pressing on her sciatic nerve. Joanne's doctor prescribed an epidural steroid injection to help alleviate the pain. Before this year, getting that procedure done would have been quick and routine. But in January, Medicare started a new pilot program in Washington and 5 other states. And here are the states. We've said this, we've listed these before: Arizona, New Jersey, Ohio, Oklahoma, Texas, and of course, Washington State. This program, called the Wasteful and Inappropriate Service Reduction, which is WISER model, allows for-profit companies to use artificial intelligence to review and deny Medicare claims. In just the first few months, the number of stories like Joanne's in which care is delayed or denied have exploded across these 6 states. Joanne's doctor recommended this injection more than 6 weeks ago, and it still hasn't been approved. For over a month, she has had to use crutches or a wheelchair, worsening the arthritis in her hands and knees and ankles and adding to her chronic pain. Joanne is now looking to see if she can pay out of pocket for the procedure because, as she told my office, she can't keep living like this. So far, it appears that using AI to speed up claims review has resulted in rapid treatment denials and frustration for patients and providers alike. WISER, W-I-S-E-R, isn't just making it harder for seniors to get the care their patients or their doctors prescribe. It also opens the door to something more troubling. Under WISER, outside companies are paid a share of the cost they save by rejecting claims. This creates a pervasive incentive to deny care. By injecting private companies into traditional Medicare with the goal of limiting care, the Trump administration is testing a new avenue to privatize the program. Congress must recognize this and reject this Trojan horse before it fundamentally reshapes Medicare as we know it. So far, it appears that using AI to speed up the claims review has resulted in rapid treatment denials and frustration for patients and providers alike. Months in, doctors' offices are still in the dark. Months in, doctors' offices are still in the dark about basic functions of the program, and the Department of Health and Human Services has not provided answers to foundational concerns since WISER was announced last June. The practice of requiring procedures to be pre-approved, known as prior authorization, is extremely rare in traditional Medicare, but is already widespread in employer-sponsored health plans and in Medicare Advantage plans. Under this deeply flawed process, patients and doctors routinely spend hours fighting on the phone for approval of basic care. many seniors choose traditional Medicare precisely so they don't have to deal with this red tape. By injecting prior authorization into traditional Medicare, the differences between it and Medicare Advantage plans grow slimmer. Worse, prior authorization often doesn't work. Over 4 million prior authorization requests made for Medicare Advantage enrollees were denied in 2024. 80% of the denials were overturned when patients appealed the initial denial. But because denials required considerable time, knowledge, and energy, few patients ever contest the coverage decisions. Even if a denial is reversed, the delay in care is frequently leading to more serious health problems and higher long-term care costs. Nearly a third of physicians say that a prior authorization requirement has led to a serious adverse health event for one of their patients. The AMA has said that worse health conditions resulting from delayed care may actually add significant cost to the nation's health system. Why don't they say that about Medicare Advantage plans, for Christ's sake? In any event, you get the flavor of this. I don't like this program because one of the great advantages of Medicare, traditional Medicare, is the fact that there is no prior authorization situation, so that your doctor and you are the ones making your decision, not some pencil pusher or bean counter in an office somewhere below the level of the earth, whose job it is just to figure out ways to deny coverage to somebody. And as Steve said, well, what if you're in one of the pilot states? If you cross a state line going to a different state to be treated, I would venture to guess that a doctor in a different state that's not part of this pilot program would not be burdened by this particular pilot program of prior authorization. I don't like it. I don't want to see it expanded. I want to see it ended in failure. That is my hope for the prior authorization pilot program. I'm looking through the articles, knowing that we're short on time because Randy and I have so much fun talking. Here's a little exchange I had with a client, or in this case, a person who I think wants to be a client. Oh, no, this is a person who wrote to me and said, "Hi, Douglas. I could not help but laugh at your honest annoyance with corporate jargon in your latest episode, and your breakdown of the $82 billion in Medicare Advantage waste was spot on. Your perspective on the origins of Medicare Advantage plans and the impact of rising premiums made for a genuinely fresh listen." How can you, does this sound like the creative posterior kissing of AI? It certainly does to me. The frank talk about insurance company rate increases and government's push for AI tools really highlights just how much complexity has crept into the Medicare landscape. That's why I think Van Carlson, founder and CEO at SRA 831B, don't know what that is, would be an excellent guest for Medicare for the Lazy Man podcast. Van is an expert in SMB risk mitigation and has a real talent for making complicated risk management topics straightforward. That sounds exciting as all heck, doesn't it, Randy?
Where do I sign up?
Yeah, I can't wait. This would resonate with your audience. That's already tired of needless jargon. With over 2 decades in the risk industry, Van is often sought out by top media and has appeared on more than 100 podcasts in the past 2 years, sharing practical advice on business continuity and managing uncertainty. Van could give your listeners tangible strategies to spot risks in their own Medicare planning and tackle common issues in the broader insurance world. I would love to explore the possibility of Van joining you for a future episode. And once again, I get correspondence, and it's always some fake name that sounds like it came straight from the Angles and the Saxons of old England. Christian Hudson signed this letter, and I said, "Dear Christian, I am afraid the subject matter would be a little too cerebral for my audience. Thanks for your consideration." Actually, I didn't want to insult my audience by saying that the subject matter would be too cerebral. It was really too cerebral for me, and so I didn't want to take on the burden. But Right now, I can tell you that van is probably not going to darken our doorway anytime soon. And frankly, it was AI generated. I'm not even sure there is a van, Carlson. But anyway, I've got some quizzes here, but since we're sneaking up on the end of the time period that we've allotted, I think I'll just save these for a future episode, Randy.
That sounds like a plan.
Okie dokie.
I have prepared for our next episode. I have chosen wisely a steakhouse.
Oh boy, I can't wait. That's
I
going to
know
make
you're looking forward to it. I can tell.
well, just talking about fine steaks makes my saliva glands overactive. So I'll
Yes,
be anxious to enjoy that particular subject.
I totally get it. Well, anyway, we need to close up shop today because we've run out of time.
Oh, hard to believe, huh?
So grab your pencil, folks, sharpen it, lick the point. I still haven't looked up why people do that. We got to figure that out.
There must be a reason.
I'm going to look that up. So anyway, here we go. DBJ at MLMmailbag.com. DBJ at MLMmailbag.com. That's where you can write Doug. Day or night, he monitors that email box all the time. He very seldom sleeps from what I can tell. Licensed nationwide to help you, he is. He is absolutely in every state of the union licensed to help you with your Medicare supplement planning. MedicareForTheLazyMan.com. That's where it's all out on the web. With the website, we try to keep that fresh. And ultimately, in your wanderings through the wilds of the internet, if you could drop some reviews on the content, we would very much appreciate that. We're trying very hard, year after year after year, to stay ahead of the travelogue people. Last but certainly not least, thank you. Thank you, every one of you, for joining us today on Medicare for the Lazy Man podcast. You have just spent, I think, a very valuable 32 and a half minutes of your time listening to Doug Jones, the anti-insurance guy, originally from Oklahoma. Not now. He's living in the high ground behind Cave Creek, Arizona, in the Nosebleed Mountains, home of the Nosebleed Indians. And I think next time we'll probably tell you a little bit more about the Nosebleed Indians. But today, let's just leave it at that. I measured the altitude. I'm going to be easy on him. Going to put you in at 9,100 feet.
9,100 feet is a little more comfortable on a 110-degree day. So I'm happy with that. And I am happy with the audience. Thank you for sticking around. A lot of people might have expected the audience to be sneaking out the back door when nobody was looking, but you guys were loyal and you like the knowledge that we share with you. And so I'm happy to have you joining us for each episode. Please come on back for our next one, which will be recorded very, very soon. Until then, bye-bye.